Fernando Alonso is Formula One's longest-standing driver. With a debut season all the way back in 2001, Alonso quickly established himself as one of the sport's most talented drivers before claiming glory at Renault in 2005 and 2006 with his 2 World Drivers' Championship titles. Since then, bad career choices, awful luck, and Ferrari have held him back from winning any more World Championships, but in 2026, that could all finally change. Alonso has found himself at Aston Martin, a team that appears to be on the up and poised to become one of F1's top constructors. So why is he now deciding that it could be time to retire? Is Alonso really ready to give it all up, just as he finds himself at a competitive team once again? Well, stick around to find out. Fernando Alonso has spent seasons bumping around different teams trying to find a place where he can compete for a World Championship once again. His last race win came over a decade ago in 2013 at Ferrari, and since then, despite a few podiums in 2023, Alonso has never been with a team that could back up his undoubtable talent. His stint at Ferrari in the early 2010s was the closest he came to World Championship glory after leaving Renault. But since then, it's been disappointment after disappointment for the 2-time champ. A break away from Formula One in search of the motorsport Triple Crown saw him come painfully close to winning the Indy 500, as well as proving his talent at Le Mans with back-to-back wins. His return to F1 with Alpine was always doomed to fail. They weren't the same team that he won his World Championships with, and probably never will be. Alonso needed a team that matched his ambitions, and that is where Aston Martin came in. Replacing the retiring Sebastian Vettel, Aston Martin didn't look like a team ready to challenge for World Championships, but massive investment from Lawrence Stroll and the recruitment of some of the sport's best, including superstar designer Adrian Newey, means that Aston Martin might be genuine championship contenders next season. With the potential of finally having a chance to fight for another World Championship, it seems like Alonso is on the brink of getting everything he ever wanted. But the 2-time world champion is instead planning to leave the sport if Aston Martin are a top team. The 44-year-old 2-time world champion's contract expires at the end of next year, and Alonso says he's thought about leaving F1, but only if Aston Martin are competitive. If things go well, I think it's a very good moment to stop, because I've been chasing a competitive car and competitive racing for many years. And if I had that, I think it's a very good way to close my career, Alonso said in an interview released by the team. Let's say that if we are competitive, there is more chance that I stop. If we're not competitive, it will be very hard to give up without trying again. It seems that Alonso has decided that getting a team into a position to win a World Championship is good enough for him at this point. He has good reason as well. When asked whether his team is ready to win it all in Formula One, he responded with a resounding yes, but added the caveat that winning a World Championship isn't always just up to you. There are a number of external factors as well that could affect your chances, and waiting for them all to align could take longer than Alonso is willing to wait. I hope so. I mean, I'm pretty convinced about that. The only thing is when. That's probably my only question mark for this project. In my case, driving in the last couple of years of my career, obviously, I want to taste the success of the Aston Martin project. But I know that everything takes a little bit of time to glue all the pieces together, and that's my only question mark. Aston Martin Aramco fighting for and winning the World Championship is more or less guaranteed in the future. We have everything that is needed to fight for a World Championship. Then, to execute the job and to win it, you need some external factors as well. You need a little help from the competitors, you need a little bit of luck, you need to execute every weekend as well. But let's say, in preparation for 2026, we have everything in place. Alonso will turn 45 next season. You have to go all the way back to the formative years of the F1 World Championship in the mid-50s to find a driver that old that won a driver's title. The indomitable Juan Manuel Fangio won his final title at 46 years old, but that was a different time. The physical toll that an F1 car takes on a driver's body now is incomparable to that of the 50s. Current F3 cars reach a higher top speed than many of the cars of the early 50s, but it is the cornering speeds where the big difference is. There is also the mental speed required to react to a current F1 car, something that does get harder with age. Also, Alonso has spent the last 20+ years dedicated to Formula One. Maybe the guy just wants to do something else. Whether it is the physical effort of F1, the mental pressure it applies, or just wanting to try something else, Alonso is ready to leave F1, as long as he leaves his team in a good state. To be fair to Alonso, Aston Martin should be in a very good state next year. Aston Martin owner Lawrence Stroll has spent the past few years investing in the team in the hope of turning them into champions. Next year, they will produce their first car under the technical leadership of design legend Adrian Newey, who joined them in March this year after resigning from Red Bull in April 2024. Alonso says he sees 2026, when F1 is introducing new regulations for engines and chassis, as an opportunity, and has been impressed by his first experiences of working with Newey. He's an incredible person and everyone in the team is learning from him, Alonso said. Everything Adrian does, you try to understand why he's doing that, why he chose that direction, or why he's answering in that way, because there is always something to learn from him. Even from a simple answer that he can give to you in response to a question, that simple answer can be so clear to him. But why is it not for others? There are moments when, to be able to understand him, you need to use all your brain capacity. Even if Adrian only uses 5%, for us, for normal people, we need to use much more. Alongside Newey will be a brand new engine from Honda, which will be made exclusively for Aston Martin. This will also offer the team a big advantage. Aston Martin will be able to work with Honda to get the engine packaged in such a way that they can design their chassis and aerodynamics in whatever way they want. As I said earlier though, success in F1 isn't entirely down to those hunting it. How your opponents perform matters as much as your own luck, and when it comes to luck, Alonso hasn't had much this season. Before I talk about that though, if you're enjoying the video and want to catch more news and analysis ahead of next season, then make sure to press the like button and subscribe to F1 Reverse. Thanks a lot. Fernando Alonso came home 15th in Sunday's Azerbaijan Grand Prix after qualifying 11th, which led the Aston Martin driver to slam his bad luck over the 2025 F1 season. He said unexpected occurrences that shake up the field only come along when the team is on form. The Spaniard qualified just outside the top 10 in Baku, ahead of the Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton and 3 positions clear of teammate Lance Stroll. However, a false start from McLaren's Oscar Piastri in front led Alonso to jump the gun as well, which saw him lose places off the line and pick up a 5-second time penalty. In those moments, every movement that is happening in front of you, obviously sometimes you react, and unfortunately I reacted to Oscar, the 44-year-old explained after the race. But yeah, I don't think that it did change my race at all. We were at a very slow pace and the final position I think is exactly the same. The slow pace of the Aston Martin AMR25 in Azerbaijan was attributed to the layout of the Baku circuit, with Alonso claiming earlier in the weekend that the good downforce and low drag required to tie together a lap of the track was not our strength. Aston Martin has regularly struggled in these regulations, despite their impressive performance at the start of 2023. However, Alonso is right, his luck has been terrible this season. He's so far picked up 4 DNFs, with technical issues causing 3 of them. A brake failure in China, power unit issues in Monaco, and suspension damage in Italy. In Australia, however, the experienced campaigner spun off in drying conditions, initially blaming the crash on gravel on the track. His teammate, however, has suffered no retirements, but did sit out the Spanish Grand Prix due to a wrist injury. Alonso was also caught out by the timing of a safety car in Zandvoort, as he'd already stopped for new rubber, and a virtual safety car in Imola, which gave his rivals a cheap stop ahead and dropped him out of the points. It is this kind of bad luck, which can be out of a team's control no matter how good their car is, which could stop Alonso from winning an F1 World Championship again. Perhaps then, it is completely understandable that he's ready to retire as soon as Aston Martin is ready to win once again. What do you think of Alonso's retirement statement? Do you understand why he's ready to walk away? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.